World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
This is Kia Rogers, and you're listening to Urbanology with my dad, Tony Rogers, on WHCR 90.3 FM New York.
Good afternoon. It's Tony Rogers, your host for Urbanology, The Art of War. I hope all is well. We have a beautiful day. Actually, as my mom used to always say, every day you can get up, you need to be thankful that you've seen another day, and all days are good. But we are moving into spring, and I love that. I'm a Gemini, June 19th baby, so I love the spring, even though the spring is not always that kind to me. I have a lot of allergies going on during that time, but nevertheless, I love the great weather. We have a very interesting show today on the first half. I have the honor to have a few words with the 110th Mayor of New York City, Mayor Eric Adams, just to talk about a few things as relates to the mayor. And I wanted to actually focus on some of the things that are positive that our mayor has done. All too often we hear him talking about a defending controversy, a conflict. I wanted to give our mayor an opportunity to talk about some of the wonderful achievements that have taken place. When I talk to Mike Garner and Jim Harding, they always tell me that he never gets a chance to do that. So for this particular show, I would like to open up that forum. So please welcome our 105th Mayor of the City of New York, Mayor Eric Adams.
Hey, brother, how are you, man? Good to see you.
I'm doing well. Every time I turn on the news, I say, God, I'm glad somebody like him can do that, to handle that. I had a talk with Regina Wilson yesterday. She was the first black uh, head of the Vulcans, and she was telling me about her struggles. And I said, yeah, between the fire department and the police department, you've seen a number of things. But I have to congratulate you, sir, for how you're handling it. You're doing us proud.
Mm,
One of the
I
things I would like to do is you usually are talking about controversy and issues that you get hit more so than other mayors get hit, but nevertheless, I would like for this time that we have for you to focus on some of the things that you feel have improved the quality of life, not only for Black and Brown people, but for New Yorkers as a whole, because I don't think you get a chance to talk about that as much.
Yes, thank you so much, brother. And let me say this. I was sitting down with Jordan, my son, we're having breakfast, and he said, Dad, we got to deal with some of the problems in the city and have some victories. And we started engaging, and I started giving him a list of our victories. And what I hear all the time is he was like, "Wow, I didn't know that," because what has happened is that three things are happening in the city that basically has taken all the oxygen out of the room and reshaped the narrative. One is the mental health crisis, the severe mental health crisis. The other is this thing called recidivism of small number of people that are repeatedly committing crimes, particularly in the Black and Brown community. And thirdly, the random acts of violence. And because of those three things, it has created this feeling that all of the stuff that we have been successful on has become sort of mute. It has taken away the narrative. But when you start looking down at the W list, brother, it is unbelievable. In 2 years, what we have accomplished. I inherited a city that crime was moving at a 40% increase in crime. Of those who are the independent observers of how well we're doing financially did not want to invest in the city. People were not back on our subway system. We were dealing with an employment issue that was at a dismal level. Children were not being educated at the level that they ought to be. Just so much. And look where we are 2 years later, brother. 2 years later, we have more private sector jobs than the history of the city. We covered all the jobs from the pandemic. The independent financial observers raised our bond rating because of how I'm making tough decisions and managing the city. We have the fourth largest tourism back in the city in the history of the city. We did more housing in 1 year in the history of the city. More people got housing through VEPS vouchers in the history of the program. More people went in from homeless shelter to permanent housing in the history of the city. We placed more young people from foster care that are enrolled in college because of our fair future and giving them life coaches and mentors until they're 21 instead of abandoning them at 18. When you look at all of these numbers, outpacing the entire state in reading and math and writing, closing the equity gap among Black and Brown children in the city, decreasing homicides, double digits, shooters, double digits, brought down 5 of the major seven major crimes. Crime is down, jobs are up. We got the World Cup coming here. What we're doing around housing, we have the largest housing project in Willis Point in over 40 years. You just keep looking and checking off, And so, brother, I want to be real honest with you and candid with you. People didn't think I could do it. They saw, this young man grew up in South Jamaica, Queens, dyslexia, struggling, from a single parent household. They said, how is this guy, former cop, 100 Blacks in law enforcement who care, how is he going to come in and run a city of this magnitude? And here's the secret. One, I dealt with the abandonment and the betrayal by government from the time I was a little boy, and I knew how we could fix and make cities run. 2, my computer technology background showed me how to put systems in place. I was a programmer in my early years as a police officer. Three, I'm gonna work hard. I'm not gonna beat you with brilliance. I'm gonna beat you with endurance. Nobody's gonna outwork me, and I'm never gonna surrender. Never going to give up. The accumulation of all of that has created this 110th mayor. Learn from David Dinkins, and I'm going to move the city forward.
Well, again, one of the things that I'm happy to be able to do is present a forum. So, again, these types of things can be said. What's dear to me, Mr. Mayor, is one, I learned when I was at City College as a junior, that I suffered from dyslexia. You know, I never knew it, but I was able to survive. And when I read, and I wrote an article about it, my cousin is the publisher of the Harlem Community News, which I know you know because you're editor of that. So I wrote an article about that and indicated how happy I was that Chancellor Banks and the Department of Education was beginning to focus on that, because I really believe that so many young individuals who don't have the endurance of parents to push them feel that they're dumb, feel that they can't compete, and they drop out without knowing that there's some other issues. They are, matter of fact, most of the people with dyslexia are even more intelligent than those who can see the numbers and spell the words better. So that was one thing. The other is being a vegetarian, healthy at last. You know, even though I know that the forum is to talk about politics and education and housing and all of those types of things, but our health, as you know, which is another story about health and hospitals, but you, in your book, was able to overcome some barriers, which is why you're such a strong mayor, I'm sure, to be able to function, you know, with high blood pressure, almost going blind, and to be able to take a move that helped me also to allow for yourself to be healthy, which allows for yourself to help others. So those are the things I like to be able to have people be aware about you that I'm sure that they're not.
No, that's powerful what you stated, and let me tell you something. First, the dyslexia aspect of it. When I sit down with young gang members, people who have went on the wrong path, and I ask them the question, "Do you have a learning disability?" 80% of the time they do, because people don't realize that 30 to 40% of the people who are in Rikers Island right now are dyslexic. 30 to 40%. And you know, you if you don't give people the services they need, as Archbishop Desmond Tutu state, we can spend a lifetime pulling people out of the river. No one goes upstream and prevent them from falling in the first place. We have a government across the globe, if not the country, that is a downstream mindset. Let's pull people out of the river. We need to stop them from falling in the river. And that's what Chancellor Banks did with dyslexia screening, and making sure that we can give young people the services so they can provide, so they don't end up like you and I learning when they're in college, but learning early in life. And then you deal with the other aspect that's a downstream mindset. We don't have a healthcare system. We have a sick care system. We ain't the people get sick, and then we want to give them pills and injections and other things. Why not go upstream? Show the power of food. You know, when I had to make the real decision that was I going to be on insulin the rest of my life, metformin, statin drugs, and those other drugs, when really people was telling me, doctors were telling me, Eric, you inherited this from your mother. Your mother's diabetic. Your dad is dealing with health issues. And it was never my DNA. It was my dinner. It was in the poisonous food that we've been eating. And that is what we must do. So you turn pain into purpose. And I think that's my life story. And all those dark places, I saw that they were not burials. They were plantings. And they took me to another place. And I hope your listeners know Every dark moment, don't see yourself as being buried. See yourself as being planted to be the new person that you can be if you just seek beyond the traditional pathways. And of course, if you tune into 90.3 FN and listen to Tony Rogers.
Soul City. Listen, again, I've followed you. My colleague, who you know very well, Lloyd Williams. We co-founded Harlem Week. This is the 50th year, so we've been interacting a long time. You're one of the few Brooklyn guys that we figured would be part of our family now. So when you were campaigning, John Palmer and a number of us, said, "Hey, look, we have to help this guy do what he needs to do." So we've been, with you for a long period of time, Mr. Mayor, and we'll continue to do that. It's just that, again, with Soul City and WHCR 90.3 FM, Harlem Community News, it gives us a chance to tell our story rather than his story. And we sometimes don't always like to brag about, ourselves or our, you have done, and it would take 2 more shows, and hopefully I can get Noah, JD or someone to get you back on, but it would take 2 more to talk about all of the positive things. I wanted to just bring out a few things that, was selfishly to my heart, because I can relate to it, but improving the quality of life for the New Yorkers. That's all. I think that job is the only job that's harder than that is the president of the United States, because and the way some work, it might not. The president of the United States might not be as hard. They got a bigger budget,
right?
But nevertheless, you have done that, and I think that we need to support you and give you the opportunity to make that case, because obviously, if anything happens that's not good, that's going to be headline news.
Without a doubt, brother.
all of the W's, all of the wins, that's not there. One of the things that I also would like to commend you with is having Michael Ghana being in charge of MWBEs and creating that pathway, because that's an important focus as it relates to that whole concept that Governor David, well, I guess I should put it this way. There's a lot of things that have been done with MWBEs, but Mike Ghana has led that path for so long with the MTA. And when David Patterson did the research and had the study that we all knew about the inequities as far as Blacks and Browns and women with state and city finance issues, we needed to have someone like a Mike Ghana,
That's right,
especially for the city. So I commend you with that. He's done a wonderful job, and there are many other things. But tell us, what, in your view, are some of the things that you really want to be remembered by?
Yeah, and one of them is what you just mentioned. When you look at the amount of money we spend for goods and procurement in this city, Mike Gardner did a record $19 billion in MWBEs. We've had these programs in place that really talked about the diversifying how we spend on goods and services, but we didn't live up to it. It was a dismal number. We want to turn that around. And then, just being known as an upstream mayor, making sure that we allow every child the opportunity they deserve. It really warms my heart to know what Chancellor Banks has done. We're outpacing the state in reading and math, what he's doing around dyslexia screening, healthy food in our schools, teaching our children breathing exercises so they could develop their full personhood. Because we can't just have them being academically smart and not emotionally intelligent. And they need to deal with this pain that they are experiencing. Social media has put them in a dark place, and we need to help them get out of that place with some of these algorithms that has led to their feeling of suicidal thoughts, depression, and some of the actions that they are mimicking from what they see on social media, riding on top of the subway trains and losing the lives of young people from subway surfing, to some of the gangs that are fighting each other because they're insulted on social media. This is the modern day plantation where people are making profits off of the disruptive behavior that our young people are experiencing. And I want to make a mark in that. I want to show people how they can live healthy, how they can be healthy, not only physically, but emotionally at the same time, and then be rooted in faith. I don't shy away from my belief in faith, my belief in God, no matter how much defines itself. Our spirit and our ancestors are greater than who we are. And if you stay close to them and your beliefs, you're going to survive these turbulent times. There was a reason I went to Ghana, Accra, and went to Senegal, the door of no return, before taking office and running for office, because I knew that at the root of what we must do, we must have a spiritual connection to God and our ancestors.
Well, I'm the president of the Harlem Tourism Board, and actually we had a crew, Soul City. We went to Senegal right after you left. Matter of fact, they thought that you had sent us. They said, wow, the mayor sent you guys down with cameras. And I said, well, the mayor is a good friend, but no, we just wanted to come because we wanted to begin to create this opportunity for people of color, the diaspora, to begin to wake up. You can, yes, as you know, there are beaches just as nice in Senegal and there or any place else. So,
that's right.
But the same powers that be who had us down in Gary Island don't really want that connection to take place.
Right.
And
right.
I was really happy to see that. A lot of people didn't know it, but I knew it because they were telling me about how you were looking at those things, which is why we have to support you, because a lot of people don't like that.
Right. No, well said. Well said.
And a lot of people don't like that.
And that significant place on Goree Island, really, I think it should be a great investment from those of us who are part of the African diaspora to go in and turn that into a first-rate location, because there's a lot of significance there. And there's a lot of opportunities that I believe that we could develop it to be a real welcoming mat for those that are part of the diaspora that went to Cuba, that went to the West Indies, that went to the Americas, that went to Brazil. That's a real rites of passage that we should reflect on, and I think should develop it to its full potential.
It's the sleeping giant. That's what I call the African diaspora is a sleeping giant, because if we would all wake up all around the world and realize where home is and who we are, no one, could really stop us, which is why there's so much division. But
yes,
speaking, you mentioned tourism. Again, as the president of the Harlem Tourism Board, it's hard for me not to talk about the Harlem tourism and hospitality industry that's growing. Matter of fact, on the second half of the show, I have John Philippe, who's the manager of the new Harlem Renaissance Hotel. Hopefully, if you haven't stopped by yet, and there's another reason. My other guest is Mel Johnson, the head of the biscuit. What is it? The biscuit. He has a business dealing with biscuits, the Harlem Biscuit Company, and now he's the chef at the hotel, and he has a vegetarian curry because people like myself, we all said this is great, but we need, there are more people that are vegans and vegetarians. And then I said, matter of fact, the mayor is vegetarian. If you want him to come up and eat, you're going to have something that he can eat with. So they have that now. And since they're coming on right after we leave you, we just wanted to make sure that at some point, please come up, whether it's during Harlem Week or during some of the other activities, and try some of that curry vegan.
I want to do it. Now, where is it located?
On 125th Street, right next to Apollo Theater.
Okay. What's the name of the restaurant?
Yeah, it's in the hotel. The Harlem.
All right.
You
That's a
know,
beautiful hotel. I
and
stopped up to see him.
so DJ knows about it. DJ is the one
Yes,
that hooked us up. DJ has been,
yes.
ever since he was a little guy. We kind of adopted him in Harlem.
Love it,
So
love it,
he's
love
there.
it.
We have a couple of more minutes. Please
Yes.
give the listeners things that you want them to be aware of at this point, of that, about you, about some of the things you want to accomplish, about some of the things
Mhm.
that you see that you need support for.
Jobs are important. We have an initiative, Jobs NYC. We're holding hiring halls throughout the city, right in the community. We had one in Harlem. We had one in Brownsville, Brooklyn. We have thousands of jobs that are available, and many people don't really know the entry ramp to employment. And we know it's difficult. Sometimes it can seem confusing. So we are really encouraging people to come out to the hiring halls in their neighborhood and find out about these jobs. We need everything from backstretch workers, food service workers, delivery workers, nurses, the school safety agents, all of these various jobs that are available. And, a job is just a form of dignity. They go hand in hand. And we just really want to encourage people. We know that people have been unemployed for a long time, but it's just taking that first step. I stopped with a group of young men who were standing outside of the hiring hall and just engaged in a conversation with them. And they said, you know what, we're going to go inside and apply for the jobs and just get our life in order. That's very important. And then having people have a full understanding of the migrant and asylum seeker issue. At the beginning of this crisis, people were wondering, Eric, what are you doing to us? You're overwhelming our city. You're giving people more than what you're giving everyday New Yorkers. People didn't know that I had no authorization to stop the buses from coming in. It was against federal law if I tried. They didn't know that I had no authorization to say I'm not going to give people food, shelter, and clothing. The law required me to do so. They didn't know I did not have any authorization to take people who commit crimes repeatedly, the small number of them, and turn them over for deportation. The city law does not allow me to do that. And most importantly, people did not know that I don't have the authority to give people the right to work. Only the federal government can do that. And so we had 180,000 people dropped in our city, 1.5 the size of Albany, New York. And basically, I was told there's nothing you can do. You're not going to get the money. A little over $100-something million we got out of a $4 billion price tag. But we managed to move forward. Not one child or family sleeping on our streets. We did it in a humane way. But we're asking all New Yorkers to become knowledgeable on this issue and really tell Washington, D.C., particularly the Republican Congress, that we need real immigration reform, and we need to make sure we give the support to New Yorkers. But we're resilient, brother. We're moving forward. And I say to your listeners, let's not do what we did to David Dinkins. They turned his base against him. They attacked him. The city was moving in the right direction. We're becoming safer because what he did with Safe City, Safe Streets. The economy was turning around. David inherited a mess, and he started turning around the city, and Mayor Dinkins had his base erode from under him, and they started criticizing, attacking him. And you saw what we got after David Dinkins, the different mayor with a different mindset. Let's not do that again. Let's stay focused and continue to see the success that we have been doing.
Well, Mr. Mayor, no good deed goes unpunished, as they say. But we will always, whether it's the Harlem Community News, the Soul City Network, or the Harlem media vehicles that we have, we will always try to make sure that we give you the platform, because you need support. We can't, we can't have you say the things that you say and do the things that you do without giving you support, because every time you talk the way you just talked the last couple of minutes, you're making some people say, this guy got to go. This guy, he's upsetting
Right.
Too many people might hear him. This guy got to go. So it's up to us to try to make sure we use the media that we have now. We have this type of vehicle now that we can get to a large number of people. And we'll make sure people from the chamber and the tourism board, they can all view this and go back and view it over and over again. So whenever you need us to help you, I want you to know that we're there for you, brother. And the next time we go to
Well, I
synagogue,
like that.
we got to go together, so that we can and bring those kind of connections together. Thank you, sir, for
Love
taking
it.
time out
Thank
of
you
your
very,
business.
very much, brother. One thing we know for sure, there's a lot of soul in our city.
That's
All right. Take care.
Take care,
Good to
and
see
thanks
you.
again for your time.
Thank you.
Surely. That was our mayor, and I was not just saying that because he's a good brother and needs support. It's because those who don't want us to have the things that we deserve tend to not like people in power that has that type of mindset. So again, hopefully we'll have some other opportunities to talk to Mayor Adams and make sure that we understand what he has been doing. We talked about tourism, and again, the Harlem tourism and hospitality industry is growing tremendously. And when Harlem Week started in 1974, the theme was the beginning of the second Harlem Renaissance. Now, 50 years later, we have a Harlem Renaissance Hotel, a Marriott, and it's in its early stage. There's still a lot of work to be done, but there's a person who's there that I truly believe is the person who will be able to bring us into where we need to be with the first major hotel that's on 125th Street, right next to the Apollo Theater. And before that, food. I also have as a guest the person who takes a page out of my heart, Mel Johnson, because and you probably know him because of the Harlem Biscuit Company, but he's the new chef. And I wanted to make sure that people met JP, John Philippe, and Mel Johnson, who are part of the Harlem Renaissance Hotel. So please welcome both JP, as we call him, Jean Philippe, and of course, a brother that's, not only my heart, but my stomach. Every time I see JP now, I get hungry. So I say, JP, you got mail now, so now it's going to be more flexible for me to start coming to the hotel because now I can eat. How are you brothers doing?
Doing very well.
JP, let's start with you. You've been around a while. I know that we've done a couple of interviews, and you have opened up a lot of different hotels. I'm sure that this Harlem Renaissance is going to be a different challenge, as all things in Harlem are. but you've been doing a number of things. Briefly, tell the listeners some of your experiences of opening up hotels within the New York tri-state area. Your mic is not on. Can't hear you. Can't hear you yet. While JP is getting that together, Mel, let's let you and I talk a little bit about food, since every time I'm getting hungry already. You've been in Harlem for a minute. How do you find yourself now being the main chef at the new hotel on 125th Street?
Well, I look at it as a great opportunity. I've had Harlem Biscuit Company for the past 4 years in Harlem, and now being able to be executive chef of the hotel, it's really been something I can really share. My love for food and for our culture and stuff in that area. So it's been a true blessing.
Well, tell us a little bit about the Harlem Biscuit Company.
Whoa, God, Harlem Biscuit Company. It's Harlem Biscuit Company. I opened up restaurants. I mean, that's one of what I was doing as a chef consultant, opening up restaurants for folks. And during the pandemic started, I found myself out of a job, and so I was selling chicken and biscuits out of my girlfriend's garage up in New Rochelle. And for a year, every Friday, I would sit there and cook fried chicken, collard greens, mac and cheese, smoke some ribs, and the whole neighborhood was just really excited for parents weren't having to cook on Fridays. They were stuck in their house or for weeks, with their kids, and so I was like that outlet to people who were getting food, and I used my New York, my Food Network kind of a celebrity being on Chopped and stuff like that. That people were like, "Oh man, you were on Chopped and you won Chopped, and yeah, let's just grab food. I saw you on TV and taking pictures and the whole thing." And it kind of created this synergy. So I came up with this idea to open up a biscuit shop in Harlem for like 2 weeks. It was a trial period. I did a pop up and we're selling chicken and biscuits and biscuit sandwiches and all that kind of stuff in a bar in 67 Orange down on 113th and on Frederick Douglass. 4 years later, we're still popping up all over Harlem, and with my, I moved to Harlem from Vegas, so I know about restaurants and hotels and banquets and catering, things like that. So it was kind of like a perfect fit when they were looking for a chef that I could come over and bring my love for our food and our culture to the hotel.
Well, one of the things that also impressed me is when you were saying that you make everything from scratch.
Oh, yeah.
Everything, which is amazing. And again, as I was talking to the mayor, it opens up another type of a market, because what people are not aware of, I did an article about it. There are a lot of African, Black and brown people who are all African at any rate, but especially African or Caribbean Americans, that are now going in the vegetarian or the vegan area based on health issues, high blood pressure, just like with the mayor. He was going blind. He had high blood pressure. They thought that he might die. So, food is very important. And
I always say I cook like a 70-year-old Black woman. So, from the South. And the thing is, when you make everything from scratch, you know what's in it. You know what's going into it. We grind our own chicken to make our chicken sausage. If I could make, my bacon, I would cure my bacon for 7 days, then smoke it and do that. So I know what goes into the food if we can make it from scratch. So we try to make it healthier that way by actually, cooking like grandma.
Yeah, well, which is true. JP, are you back with us?
I'm not sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm back live. Thank you.
So, Mel was talking about food, and he's making me hungry. So let's switch over a little bit.
Yeah, Mel has a tendency to make a lot of people hungry.
and to my credit, I was an advocate of the menu, but JP looked at the menu he got there and he says, "Nah, something has to change here." But that comes from your experiences. And I had an interview with you before, and you list a number of the hotels that you've worked with that you opened. We probably don't have time to list all of them, but tell the listeners some of those things so that they can understand the experience that you're bringing to the Marriott.
Thank you, Tony. I'll make it brief since it's a little extensive. But I opened up the 4 Point Soho post opening right after they opened up, and then from there they opened up the Sheraton Brooklyn Hotel. I went over there as the controller, opened up that property. Thereafter, the Aloft Hotel Brooklyn opened up adjacent to the Sheraton Brooklyn. Went over there once the GM left to continue on scaling that operation to being the top hotel in Brooklyn in terms of revenue and also RevPAR. From there, I was promoted to go to Times Square to turn that property around. Went over there and was able to stabilize that asset for the owners. Over that course of those properties within the organization, I was selected and have won General Manager of the Year 3 times, competing with 60 to 100 other GMs across the country. Then I went over to the Sheraton Lincoln Harbor to that property. I was recruited by an executive recruiter to stabilize that property for the owners. Once I completed that project, they promoted me to the general manager at the Roxy Hotel, which is a luxury property in the city. It has similar bones to the Renaissance Hotel. Then from there, I went over to MCR Hotels to stabilize one of their properties in terms of labor issues. I was able to successfully stabilize that property as well. And then that's when I got the call for the Renaissance Harlem, which I jumped on because I saw a lot of.
You know, we're gonna have a new theme for you, the stabilizer. We'll put a show together. JP, the stabilizer. That's a new.
Yeah.
We always give nicknames to people. Tell us a little bit about the hotel, because there's some people like the mayor. He wasn't even familiar. I'm glad that I was able to bring this to his attention. Yeah, but tell the people about the property.
It's a beautiful property. It was built from the ground up. It used to be the former site of the Victoria Theater. We painstakingly went through the process of restoring the ornate ceiling, the lobby. The ticket booth is still being remodeled. The marquee was updated with LED lights. We also have affordable housing as part of the project that's in the rear of the hotel. It's a 28-story building. We're connected with the Victoria Theater, which is run by the Apollo team. That seats 199 seats in one side of the theater, 99 seats in the other. We have one of the biggest ballrooms in Harlem, beautiful ballroom. If you ever want to have an event here, it's 3,000 square feet, can hold up to 300 people. We also have 3 meeting spaces. Each of them can hold 30 to 40 seats as well. We have the Victoria restaurant with the mezzanine level, a private dining room. And then we also have 2 rooftops on top of the building. One facing the George Washington Bridge and the other facing Central Park. And if you go to the back, you can see Queens and Brooklyn. It's an unobstructed view of the entire city. We have 211 brand new luxury hotel guest rooms on the property. So if you haven't been, you're definitely be amazed.
And one of the things that I was impressed with is the occupancy has broken some records for new openings as it relates to having well over 75% on an average, and sometimes even more than that. I remember the first day that it opened, the Lamb family, who one of the owners, had an event, and within about 5 or 6 hours, you had about 80% occupancy on the first day. So that's when Mr. Lamb said, "Wow, this is great." I said, "Yeah, and we just started." He said, "Man, I should have added some more rooms." He said, "Maybe I have to build another hotel." But with all of that, and I know that you are starting to have jazz and some other different types of things that are going on. And now that you have Mel there, for brunch and some of the other things, what's the website? How can people find out about that? Do you have a menu on the website, Mel, the Victoria?
Yeah, VictoriaTheaterNYC.com is the website. And take a look in there, and we have breakfast, lunch, dinner, brunch. We're open all 3. We're working on some stuff for the week, like JP mentioned, the rooftop I'm working on some cool things to put up there for more like a lounge, kind of a sit down champagne bar situation. That's the kind of things that we're working on. Hopefully, opening that up before summer. But we started at lunch. We started brunch. Probably think I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it right here right now. We have the best chicken and waffles in Harlem.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Okay, you're throwing the gauntlet down. You see,
I'm gonna throw the gauntlet right now.
you
Best one
know,
in Harlem.
well, I'll have to check out the waffles. And at one time, though, I used to be at Wells, Wells is closed. So, matter of fact, Matt McCoy used to be a part of that. That's how I think I ran into Matt when he was managing Wells. But chicken and waffles was an interest. As a matter of fact, I asked Miss Wells about that many years ago, and she said one of the ideas that made people do that is that there was people who would hang out and they would be coming in and it was too early for breakfast and too late for dinner. so,
Right,
so,
right.
so the whole chicken and waffle thing came as kind of like a combination of both things. That became a great opportunity, and that still is. And when JP, do you think that the rooftop bar uh, issue will come about? Is that going to be this summer, maybe?
We're hoping we could open it this summer. That's the trajectory and the game plan. Hopefully before the 4th of July, but that's still pending.
Well, I'm going to put my bid in now for the 4th of July because based on the rooftop, I know that'll be a great place to see that. So I'm putting in my bid now. So save me a spot because I know that'll be, Now, Mel, there's something I can't let you go without you telling me about the pancakes.
Pancake. Well, the carrot cake pancakes.
The carrot cake pancakes.
Carrot cake pancake. I think it's one of JP's favorites too, right?
Absolutely.
Carrot cake pancakes done with just like the traditional carrot cake. We put all those nice spices and carrots and things like that. Toasted pecans in there. Make a cream cheese frosting to go on it as well. So it eats just like you're eating a cake for breakfast.
But it's not sweet.
But it's not sweet, huh?
Not sweet.
Which is good, I suppose. I always say to myself, I have to eat healthy, but sometimes that unhealthy food used to taste so good. But one of the things, JP, that you, Mel, that you said, which is important too, is that I was raised up until 5 in South Carolina, and the food that was made then was different from the food that we get now. I mean, even the vegetables. People talk about they're vegetarians, but if they're not eating organic vegetables, they can, they might as well throw a steak on because some of the pesticides can be just as bad as it relates to your health. So, but you are what you eat, as they say. So. Yeah. You have to be very careful whatever you're doing.
We bring in a lot of produce and stuff in, and I try to change up some. I play around with vegetables and stuff all the time. We have baby roasted rainbow carrots. We olive oil, salt, and pepper. That's all you have to put on it. Let the product be the product. We're bringing in broccolini. We're cutting all these out our melons and strawberries and berries. We make a lot of things from scratch. So we bring a lot of products in, and we stand there and we have a good time and playing with the food. But that's how I was raised. I was raised picking my own, picking greens and black-eyed peas. My grandma would open up a brown paper bag in front of the TV, and you sit there and shucking peas. That's how I was raised. So that's
Where
how
were you raised, man?
I was raised in the South, Southern California. Well, my grandmother's from Willville, Mississippi, and I Willville, Mississippi. My mother was born in New Orleans. I'm actually headed to New Orleans next month just to taste, to bring some more flavors back here to Harlem, get myself grounded again in the food. I mean, I make a trip down to the South and just eat through there, a few times a year, just to make sure that I'm grounded in our tradition, our flavors, and being a chef is it's not a job for me. It's a lifestyle. So this is a lifestyle I chose, and I'm all about the food, and especially our food and our culture.
Well, that's important. JP, what are your focus plans? Where would you like to see the hotel this time next year?
Very good question. I think I would like to see the hotel as a beacon for the community in terms of a place to actually come in, be entertained, whether it's through our jazz events, social events, possibly looking at having unique shows here and there in terms of having comedy nights and working with other partners to have some special events here. But making it a destination in which once you check in, you have a lot to keep you busy and to keep you entertained. Whether you are looking for to have a romantic getaway in terms of us creating a unique romantic package. So once you arrive, you have that special package for your loved one, and that's in that special event. Being a place where the community could come together, have meetings, have a great times, and not have to travel to Midtown. Not have to travel over the George Washington Bridge to go to New Jersey or go to Long Island. Sometimes people just want to have a staycation. They don't want to travel, but they wish there was something in the neighborhood, somewhere around they could just escape and just unwind without having to get on a bus or get on a plane. And looking to make the Renaissance Hotel more like a sanctuary, in which you can come in and have a great time. And once you're in the hotel, you almost forget your surroundings because you're so immersed with what other people are doing. And sometimes you may have a celebrity that walked by, like last week. So you never know who's going to be here.
Well, why not? We have a celebrity chef, so why not bring some celebrity? But one of the things, again, since we are talking to people who may not be that aware of the Renaissance, one of the other important things, especially in my position as president of the Harlem Tourism Board, is that you've been able to concentrate on the economic development opportunities in tourism as relates to the different people who are now serving as navigators or other positions within the hotel. Matter of fact, one of our members, Nikki Sunshine, her and her husband has the Harlem Comedy Club over on the east side. That might be a good connect as relates to some of the things that you're doing. And you'll smile with this, but as you know, at some point we're going to have some Lindy stuff. I have a mission. Everybody does the Lindy swing dance throughout the world, but nobody does it in Harlem, and it originated in the Savoy. So I've been, when I say that, John rolls his eyes, But at some point, we're going to do have some Lindy classes at the hotel because it just fits. It came out, in the 20s and the 30s, and that's the decor of the Harlem Renaissance. Matter of fact, I meant to mention to the mayor in Senegal, there's a Renaissance monument. And I know when I had brought some guests from Senegal, they made note of that. They would say, wow, you could have a trip staying at the Renaissance here in Harlem and then going to the Renaissance monument in Senegal. And I said, well, that sounds good to me. But nevertheless, brothers, I know you are all busy, and I appreciate you taking time out of the busy schedule to talk with us. JP or Mel, give the listeners again how they can contact the hotel as it relates to reservations or more information. And of course, you might have to start booking food as we keep having you on talking about all of the food. You won't be able to just walk in there and get a seat. You're going to have to probably do some reservations. But
that's where we want it. We want it just like that.
So tell people how they can get in contact with you guys.
If you're looking to book a reservation, the easiest way to go is go to Marriott.com and put in Renaissance Harlem, New York Hotel, and the reservation system will pop up. And once you can curate and select your room type, your length of stay, and any other special discounts that may be available on our website. As for the restaurant, I'll let Chef Melvin go through that.
That will be under Victoria Theater NYC, and you can check out all the menus there: breakfast, lunch, brunch, dinner, and also special events to book big special parties, banquets, things like that. The banquet menus on that website as well.
And hopefully in the summer we'll be able to see all of New York City on the rooftop bar. So anyway,
not only the rooftop bar, but we're working on trying to bring the go-kart. So when people do book the reservation,
that's true. There's a new game. You're absolutely right. Club Kart Tours, which I should have mentioned that when the mayor was on. I had to talk to him again. There's a brother, Kevin Davis, who is the first to introduce electric carts as a tour vehicle for New York City. And they're doing bases both with the Marriott and some other hotels uptown, as well as some of the hotels downtown. And if you haven't done that, it's a wonderful way of seeing the city in these 8-passenger, 6-passenger carts with music and entertainment, and you're riding through the streets and people are looking and stopping at you and seeing what's going on. So that's another one of the wonderful things that is coming out of the Marriott, and those who are traveling, I know that there's great navigation, navigators who can tell you what's going on, where to go, and what to do. So you're doing a great job, brothers. I appreciate it. I'm happy to have you on, and we'll, as we start to do some more things, make sure that if there's any special announcements, whether it's through the radio show or the TV, or even Harlem Community News, that we make sure that we let people know who you are, what you're doing, and if there's special events, we'll help with that too. So thank you both. Appreciate it, and we will talk to you soon. Now,
Tony, I just want to point one thing out. We just activated Renaissance Evening. So when you do check in the hotel, one of the beautiful amenities that you have, that in the evening you can stop by and have a complimentary drink that is put together, curated by our bartender in front of you, and it's for an hour. So that's one of the beauties of staying here at the Renaissance.
Could you just repeat that a little louder? Because I wanted to make sure people heard that. Say that again.
Yes, when you do stay here at the Renaissance Harlem, we have Renaissance evenings during the weekday. So when you do check in the evenings between 6 and 7, we have a bartender in the restaurant that's going to make you that special drink of the evening to your heart's content, and you could drink and enjoy yourself for the next hour. So if you want to have one drink or two drinks, it's there, and you could relax and enjoy the scenery. It's our way of saying welcome to Harlem.
That sounds good to me. Good food, good drink, and a beautiful environment. We can't lose. So again, the Harlem Renaissance Marriott Hotel, 125th Street, right next to the Apollo 3 Theater. There is 283.
233.
233.
And you will be able to enjoy a great deal. Give the address, Mel, of the Harlem Biscuit Company also.
Oh, Harlem Biscuit Company is on 135th and Adam Clayton Powell. It's 2308 Adam Clayton Powell, between 125th and 126th Street.
Right.
Harlem Biscuit Company, open 8 to 2.
Well, thank you, brothers. I appreciate your time, and we will have you on again.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Tony.
Take care.
Take care.
And that brings us to the end of the day's show, which we were able to fit everything in. I was very happy to be able to not only give the mayor some favorable media time, as well as talking to Chef Mel and JP from the Marriott. The food is good. If you haven't been there, the 5th floor lounge and bar is a great place to be. So thanks for watching. We will be back next week with some special guests, and hopefully you can enjoy the rest of the day. Take care. Bye.
This is Kia Rogers, and you're listening to Urbanology with my dad, Tony Rogers, on WHCR 90.3 FM New York.
Urbanology.